Well, hello, one and all. Welcome to my podcast. I'm going to drink some Mountain Dew Baja Blast and be reading to you the complete history of mythology.
I will also take a turn at this.
That Baja Blast will hopefully kill me. Now, let's begin the story. We must first get through the intermath. Chapter 1. The Stories of the Cradles of Civilization. Egypt's Divine Kingship. In 1798, Napoleon Bonaparte and his French troops conquered Egypt. They were the last in a succession of foreign forces: Persians, Greeks, Romans, Arabs, Turks, to dominate in the wake of the pharaohs. The expedition's reports of countless temples and tombs and monuments lining the banks of the Nile, the remnants of an ancient yet sophisticated civilization, helped to spark a new interest in the religion that is not adapted. The power of ancient Egypt and its height in 1450 BC extended from the border with Libya in the west to the river Erythraes in the east, and from the Nubian deserts in the south to Syria in the north. But the heart of the empire lay, as it always had, along the Nile. The river banks were a haven from the surrounding deserts, in which the Egyptians could nourish their own unique vision of the world. A stark duality. Harsh deserts versus fertile river margins has woven deeply into Egyptians' thoughts. Even after political unification in 3100 BC, there were always two Egypts: Lower Egypt, the delta of the Nile, and Upper Egypt, from Memphis at the apex of the delta, along the river to its upper reaches at Aswan, represented by the gods Seth and Horus, respectively. And it would change the view of their religion. Now it'll touch on how some of Egypt's religion affects our modern days. The birth of the calendar year. Originally, the year had only 360 days. This changed when Adam discovered an implicit passion between his two grandchildren, Nut, sky, and Jeb, earth, whose union deprived the world of its atmosphere. According to the Greek version of this tale, Nut and Jeb were so closely entwined that there was no room for anything between them. This angered Adam, who offered their father Shrew, god of air, to separate them. Shrew did so by standing on Jeb and hoisting Nut above his head, so they could not touch each other. Nut, however, was already pregnant, and the wrath of Adam cursed her. She was allowed to give birth, he announced, but she was forbidden to do so on any of the 360 days that made up the year at the time. Among the gods Adam created was Thoth, god of wisdom. Thoth loved Nut and decided to help her by challenging the other gods to a game of draughts, in which he gambled for more time. He won 5 days, and by adding them into the existing year, he created time for Nut to give birth on successive days to her 5 children, known as Osiris, Horus, Seth, Isis, and Nephthys. Thoth's wisdom Hum and cunning had gained Egypt a full calendar year. And that's why we have 365 days in a calendar. Gotta make sure my shower here doesn't turn off. Quite an interesting tale. Now, as for being the other people in here, are there any other Greek gods you would like to learn about in particular before we move on to just plain chapters? Thank you for joining the podcast. Might I ask you to leave? Oh, I unlocked things for Smite, actually. But that does make this significantly more interesting. Okay, so apparently I unlocked some more gods, even though I have the God Pass. Thank you, Smite. I really appreciate that. I'm gonna go make sure I didn't get scammed real quick. Yeah, I still got everything. Do I? Wait, actually. Oh yeah, there's the new one. Charenbog. Oh, I thought Smite screen background would make this slightly more interesting. Perhaps I can find some gods who people... Let me filter this, and then I can actually have something relevant in the background. Where's Egypt? There it is. Oof. Okay, so maybe as you noticed throughout this, here would be Froth, the god from the story we had just read. The god of wisdom. Helping Nut, of course. Who is not in this. However, Jeb is. Now, if someone... Now, to that of you watching right now, please do not insult my stats on Jeb.
If smoking is so bad, why does it cure salmon?
Okay, thank you all for watching. This has been a wonderful time. I'm going to hang myself. I just want to do something. Show you the representations of these gods from the story we just read. Is that too much to ask? Now, the 5 children were Osiris, Horus, Seth, Isis, and Nephthys. Osiris, of course. If I can sit in here, you'll see a nice representation of him. Give you a good idea.
Look, sorry to interrupt, but you know the show Hey Arnold? I mean, everyone knows what it is, but everyone, you know the show Hey Arnold?
There is no horse in this.
You know
nor
the show
Seth.
Hey Arnold?
Yes, everyone knows the show. Hey Arnold, now stop interrupting history lessons.
No, this is better. He says, "You set a beautiful table, my fair señorita," and she says, "Muchas gracias," and he says, "Ah, enchilada."
Now, of course, another one of the children of Nut and Jeb was Isis, the goddess of magic.
Netflix, our best wishes to the royal couple on their magical wedding, Shrek and Fiona.
Nut and Jeb, but it's because that was in their native language. Now, how the Egyptians would order out chaos.
Thanos, a perfectly balanced breakfast, now with marshmallow infinity stones.
So you actually starting to interrupt the lesson here.
I'm sorry.
How dare you interrupt this? Somebody's watching this right now, and they're like, get on with it. There's Egypt. I want to know about the order out of chaos.
I bet no one cares about this. They're just here for my main.
As a matter of fact, there's no one here. There's just a comment that tells me books are for nerds. From the one man that was watching, who left. Who's also in this.
By Gaylord Supreme.
You don't think... Everybody type in the chat, Baby Mushi, you're wrong. Books aren't for nerds. This wasn't a waste of taking it from your dead uncle's garage.
I swear to drunk I'm not God, but seriously, stay in drugs, eat school, and don't do vegetables.
Okay, if you can stop reading iFunny posts.
This is the last one. And
okay, if this last one doesn't make me laugh my ass off, I reserve the right to remove you.
Okay, never mind.
You to give me infinite legs? Oh. Oh, I don't know. It's almost like it's the same guy that's in the podcast right now. Okay. So, back to it. Order out of chaos. The Egyptians' understanding of the universe was limited by what they could see around them. According to the ancient text, the waters of chaos surrounded their world, which was separated into three parts: the earth, the sky, the underworld, which was known as the Dot. The sun journeyed into a perilous dark at night, which was why it could not be seen. This lucid but somewhat disturbing vision raised one crucial question: how had life been formed in the first place? And there are accounts of the mysterious.
Pour out how much you think you need. Step 2, wrong. Okay, that was the last time, I swear to God.
You said that the last time.
Okay, but this one I thought was funny. It made me laugh. No.
You have the attention span of a 2-year-old. In their accounts of the mysteries of creation, the Egyptians were inspired by the natural world. They observed the changing levels of the Nile River, and the alluvial salt was left behind. As the annual flood receded, the black slit was rich in nutrients that enabled crops to flourish. Each year the Nile flood retreated. The newly fertilized earth began to appear above the surface. The Egyptians concluded that the creation had started in a similar way, with a single mound that rose from a vast expanse of primeval waters. which contained a procreative energy that was the source of all life. The mound was central to all Egyptian creation, myths, and its existence. It was never disputed. The god Tadjin, whose name translated as Risen Land, personified this primordial feature, but the precise origins of the mound provoked debate, where it had first arisen. Every major religious had claimed it had emerged at its own, and theologists spent a great deal of time debating which deity had first appeared there. The creation myths themselves varied from place to place. At Heliopolis in Lower Egypt, a family of 9 original gods, the Ended, or group of 9. The Greeks later called them the Worshipped. What? Okay, never mind. The first god to materialize on the mound was Atum, lord of Hieropolis, described as he who came to being of himself. He immediately started to produce more gods. According to one part of the pyramid text, he took his penis in his hand and ejaculated through it to the first twins, True Air and Tefnut Moister. I'm sorry, who's chuckling right now? You're ruining this very educational moment. Well, elsewhere,
yeah, I just saw a funny meme.
These texts, Archim is said to have sneezed out Shu and spat up Tefnut. Thus, the world's atmosphere was formed. Shu and Tefnut contemplated to produce Jeb earth and Nut sky. Nut and Jeb began at 4 children, Osiris and Seth, the opposing gods of order and disorder, and their consorts Isis and Nephthys. From these origins, all other life came into being. Well, again, there's nothing to really show off all this, other than, Isis and Jeb here.
The Odyssey, page 1. Tell me.
No, no, you do not mix in Greek. I am doing an Egyptian one right now.
I want to read the Odyssey. I like it.
I understand you like it. You can wait until we get to the Greek part, which includes the entirety of the Odyssey.
Then I get to read the Odyssey. Is this an actual book or is this online that you're reading?
This is an actual book. 668 pages.
You know what? Forget that first page. I'm going to skip to the Cyclops anyways, because that's my favorite.
How long have we been doing this?
Too long.
20 minutes. We've been doing this 20 minutes.
God, that's lying.
We've been doing this 20 minutes. We're going to be reading through this whole book because life is pain and sometimes you need to be reminded that it is so.
No one heard that. I can't breathe. It's really bad.
More Mountain Dew. Drink Mountain Dew. This is sponsored.
Book 2.
Next on our list is Ptah, the creator god. And if you think I'm pronouncing it wrong, it's spelled P-T-A-H. Ptah.
PTSD?
The Neapolitan doctrine was marked physical in character. Atrum's act was seen creative, even though he had no partner. The theologians ascribed female qualities to his hand, which even truly gained the status of a goddess. In Memphis, however, the creator god's act, Ptah's act of creation, was contemplative rather than physically active. Ptah was part of a triad of deities, along with his consort, the lioness goddess Sekhmet, and the lotus god Nephim.
Lotus. Those are flowers. The lotus eaters.
Yeah. Understood to be Ptah's son, like the god Khnum. See pages 18 through 20. We're not there. Ptah was a patron craftsman, and his highest priest was called greatest of the controllers of the craftsmen. These Egyptians were really creative with names. Ptah created by intellectual effort alone, thinking things into existence with the ideas that emanated from his heart and the names that then issued from his tongue. For the Egyptians, the heart was a seat of intellect and a source of any thought, which the tongue then spoke to make real. By uttering a litany of names, Ptah was able to produce the gods and all of Egypt, including the cities, shrines, temples, and nomes, known as provinces. Nomes is Egyptian for promises, I guess. Provinces. Ugh. The Memphite creation myth, exalting Ptah, did not succeed the myth of Atrum as creator, nor did it reject Atrum's actions on the mound. The two myths coexisted. Atrum's material presence was symbolized by the sacred hill at every religious site, while Ptah's intellectual presence was in all gods, all people, all cattle, all creeping things that live. Some variations included both Ptah and Atrum. The indebted Atrum were thought as if the lips and teeth of Ptah. In another fusion with the god Tatingin, who personified the primeval mound. Ptah was linked to the sacred hill. Ptah was once the oldest creators of the gods. There were temples to him all over Egypt, but he did not rise to ultimate supremacy. That was the story of Ptah. Oh, it's fine.
People are talking. I need people. I have no human contact. Tell me when to read the Odyssey.
Okay, how about I go back to the page that reads when these things start. Until page 134, we will not get to Greece. At all. We're at
Sing
page
to me of the man
15.
The man of twists
We're
and
at
turns,
page
driven time will again, of
15. Remove your Greek sluttery from my
You
nice
uncultured
Egyptian
swine.
church, okay?
The Odyssey is better.
And you can read it when we get to Greek. Wait, period. He had combined with other gods to become Ptah Soker Osiris, a god of the dead. When the Greeks arrived in Egypt, they identified Ptah with their smith god, Hierosos. In one of Ptah's shrines in Memphis, called Hawikapa, it's very weirdly spelt and spaced out, but it translates to mansion of the spirit of Ptah. Again, these Egyptians, they just had a way with names. Fucking majestic. Came to refer to the whole religion, its Greek form. Agoraptos gave us the modern name Egypt. We'll take a light break, as there's another man who should be invited real quick. Yes, podcast brought to you by Mountain Dew and Doritos. Only the most MLG of historians will truly understand.
Also sponsored by Mountain Dew and Doritos. And no, they're not the same thing.
Welcome to the podcast, Daniel.
Welcome to the wait a minute.
Welcome to the podcast.
That's
What did I
not
do?
Daniel.
You joined a podcast. There is no leaving now. I'm reading the
leaving.
entire history of Egypt.
Yeah, and then I get to read Greece.
I hate you guys.
You don't get to leave. You're forced to stay here.
You
Believe
don't
me, I've
hate
already
me.
tried.
I'm your only bride.
He offers free stuff at the podcast.
Like what? Like V-Bucks?
Like
The
a night over at his
a
house,
drawn image
watching
of the sad hand job Ptah gave to himself to form the world and the plants.
Only if you were here when you knew what that meant.
There was a very graphic scene described in Egyptian mythology. Yeah. Which apparently a lot of the names do come from Greek also.
Mm-hmm.
The names of the gods are just because the Greeks found them and we know that the Greeks wrote them down.
Mm-hmm. It started with the Greeks. How'd you not know this?
Well, Egypt's one of the oldest civilizations we know about, also.
So? Egypt has a different set of gods.
Yeah, but it is also the reason we have a 365-day year.
Yeah, that's true.
As those of you watching live right now will remember from 30 minutes ago.
How long has this been going for?
30 minutes.
Is anyone actually watching it?
What's your YouTube channel?
Best Buy Games. Oh, it should be Best Brandon, yeah. With a picture of Bling Bling Boy.
Wait, it's
Mine
Best
is,
Buy Games?
No, Best Brandon.
Mine is Sketchy Blankets.
I don't see it. I put Best Brandon Games and I don't see it.
Okay, now on to the story of Ognodad and Arun.
No, tell me your channel. I want to watch
It's
this.
Best Brandon. I forgot to change the little tag with the little thing at the bottom, so it's still an ad for my old channel name. Or if you really need to find it, search my hit video, Call of Duty Ghost Turtle Power.
Oh, I found it. Oh, Lord.
Oh, thank you, those of you who have joined into the live stream.
Oh, hey guys, Jetpack coming to Fortnite, by the way.
Very cool.
I'd like to discuss the. Is Andrew in here?
No, Andrew left earlier. He can't afford the bill at the end of the podcast. He spent all his money on V-Bucks.
Yeah.
It's just a simple $299, and get this, it's not even a whole $299. It's 4 payments of $299, so you don't gotta pay. So you don't even have to pay around.
No, I'm realizing from the loop around, do all you guys even have it where your voices can even be heard in this?
I do.
I don't know.
Don't you just hate paying $100 for simple kitchen utilities? Well, just pay 4 payments of $19.99 and get your blender today.
Do you want to keep going? I want to get through Egypt before the end of fucking today.
I want to get through Greece right now. Sing me, oh muse.
Greece is the 3rd mythology to get through because it's very large. It's also mixed with
You're
Roman.
very large.
It's pretty big.
Okay. Then on to the Ogdolad and Amun.
Have you heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis?
Execute
It was ironic.
Order 66.
He could save anyone from death, but not himself. Mountain Dew sponsored break. Okay. And Hermopolis, further to the south in the center of Egypt, local myth dealt with as much with the had occurred before the mound was formed, as with what had happened after. The Hermaphrodite and Octolad, or group of 8, considered of 4 pairs of male and female deities who inhabited the primeval waters before the world existed. The males took the form of frogs and the females were presented as snakes. Oh, so the same as now. Oh, that's really funny. I feel like I just got demonetized somewhere.
Why?
No one caught on to what I said?
No.
The males took the form of frogs and the females took the forms of snakes. I said nothing has changed.
You can't get demonetized for that.
Oh, okay.
Also, someone's mic is just destroying my ears.
Because he's listening to it on loop and playing it back into the mic.
Please don't do that.
Who's playing
Although sometimes they were depicted as baboons.
Who's playing it on loop?
The gods and goddesses were paired up to represent the different aspects of the universe. Before the world was created, Nun and his consort, Nonet, together personified the original formless ocean. He and Honet symbolized infinity. Kek and Konet embodied darkness. Amun and Amet were the dual incarnation of hidden power. The divinities signed all could not be seen or touched.
The Infinity Stones.
They comprised the antithesis of life, yet as male and female pairs they represented at the same time the possibility of life. They were also linked with the sun by their association with baboons.
The Time Stone.
What's with all of them baboons?
Who greeted the dawn with howls,
What are you?
and tightly the Ogdodad was divided into two groups, male and female, but at a certain point in their existence, the two sexes were driven together. Although the exact details of this cataclysmic meeting are unknown. The myths from Hermopolis describe the event as having come about at the command of Thoth, the patron deity of the city. No doubt, the claim was intended to promote his status. Below there is an image of the carvings of baboons worshipping other deities. The violent meeting between the two groups produced a tremendous upheaval, which in turn generated the primordial mound. The mound itself contained a cosmic egg, which hatched to reveal the young sun god. As the shell fell apart, the mound turned into an island of flame, and the newborn sun god ascended, hid the sky, to his rightful position in the heavens.
$5 says it's raw.
This event was considered in Hermopolis to be the very first sunrise. The Ognodad had thus become the fathers and mothers who came into being at the start, who gave birth to the sun, and who created Atrum. The Hermopolitan concept, which likened the birth of the universe to a cataclysm, in some ways anticipates the modern Big Bang theories, which tempting to structure the Egyptians, who were accomplished astronomers, based on the concept and their observations of the night sky. It is more likely, though, that the idea represented an especially intense example of their view of life, which was made up of opposites that clash, and a clash of cosmic genders. The basis of life was laid down. The Theban view of creation was different again. In Thebes, Amen was all-powerful, whereas in Hermopolis, he was just one of a number of gods.
Please be a launch pad.
There's always a launch pad.
It's not. I'm just gonna die.
Now, to those confused about the shell representation of the sun god, I'd like you to look at this well-made representation of him here in Smite. Realize that he is a fire chicken.
Right? Stop. Just
Get some help. I always have 0 viewers. No one watches this. Yep. Yeah, you're about on the same level as me getting a text right now from my mom. Oh, honey, you're doing great. Original gods. The Thebans did not reject the Ognodad altogether, but placed Amen in its sole creator. He was the first one who gave birth to the first ones. One version of myth depicts him as a serpent, Amukarif, he who has completed his moment. Again, I have to keep saying this, but these Egyptians, they have just such a wayward names. living in the waters of none. However, it is suggested elsewhere that he has emanated a mighty honk like a goose, which burst into the stillness of the universe, causing a cosmic reaction by which the Ognidad and Amrid were formed. The bird Emergery may have been borrowed from the story that described the world coming to being after Rabenu bird, a heroine rather than a goose, laid its egg on a primeval mound. The Thebians developed a distinct theology in which Amun was conceived even from the gods existing somewhere beyond the natural world. It was thought that the Creator had to stand apart from his creation.
And that's how omelets were made.
The hidden god, studied this role. The text summarized Amun's mystery and power. He is hidden from the gods, part of aspect is unknown. He is farther than the sky, he is deeper than the Duat. No god knows his true appearance, no one testifies to him accurately. He is too secret to uncover his awesomeness. Actual quote from this book. Fucking A. He is too great to investigate, too powerful to know. Manifest one whose identity is hidden and is insatiable. It shows a carved image, yet again, from what is believed to be the tomb that worshipped him. And it has a lot of pictures of varieties of geese.
I love geese.
They look like the Disneyland geese.
Goosin'.
So the next time you go and you look at a goose, think, man, somebody used to worship that. Man, somebody probably still worships that.
Honest.
Amun's identity was so secret that anyone who tried to discover his origins suffered an instantaneous death. Yet he was also omnipotent, and as part of the inherited, he was present everywhere, despite being concealed. As one text put it, and red was combined in your body. Your image is every god joined in your person. How could Amun at the same time be separate and combined with everything? In response was a paradox.
In order for anyone else to be able to leave, one of us has to leave first and then get killed. So I'm gonna sacrifice myself so that you guys can leave with your own free will. I'm sorry, but the curse must be broken. Listen,
You've already started. You've already started looking into Amun's. You know the instantaneous death that awaits you.
I will buy double Mountain Dew and Doritos.
Bitch, I better get this in the mail.
I'm going to use your promo code 3 times.
Now remember, this reading of the book is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club, guys. You can, and of course, get a nice clean shave for just a few dollars a month for those additional razors.
You know what this is also brought to you by?
And smooth buttercream.
EMF and Junkie. Go subscribe to EMF and Junkie. I love you all. Goodbye.
Okay, he's gone. Anyone who goes to that channel, please make sure you leave hate mail.
I don't know why I'm here.
Why are you here?
I didn't ask for this. You kind of just invited me.
Well, I guess it has been 45 minutes. Thank you, everybody, and please feel free to join us again next time as we continue reading Mythology, the illustrated anthology of the world, myths, storytelling, and everything.
Please no. Please stop. Ooh, the Knights are making a comeback.
Ooh, woo.
Never mind. Actually, wait.
This
Hey,
book
we won the
is
thingy.
really heavy.
We won the Belleville the Knight thingy. And now it's Musashi the Crane. Which is the Japanese one. And guess who's winning that one?
I'm guessing the samurai?
Yeah. But now I
Wow,
play
it's almost
Orochi.
like people naturally want to play the characters that they're in the faction with.
It was really bad planning for this, I can admit. I wish when you scavenge your gear you could get like a chance of getting like currency.
You know what would have been even better? How about you have to defeat so many of a certain type of enemy? You had to defeat so many knights.
Why would you do such a thing? That's no. Knights are unstoppable.
You have to defeat so many samurai.
Samurai are unstoppable.
You have to defeat so many knights and samurai for the Vikings. I got a trash can, by the way.
Vikings just suck.
You suck. You suck butts.
Okay, name one Viking character that doesn't use cheese.
Berserker.
Berserker uses the side dash all the time.
Okay, name one For Honor character that has no cheese.
Let's see.
A character you
Definitely-
can't cheese with.
It's physically impossible?
Physically impossible to cheese.
Let me think. Kensei, actually.
No, there's the, unless they changed it to where you can no longer do the, repeated up attacks, or whatever. Because somehow, at one point, his up attack was faster than his side ones.
No, it's always supposed to be faster.
And you could infinitely lock someone with that before.
Cool.
Cheese. True stories. A man once got hammered and recorded himself stripping and dipping into a bathtub full to the brim with nacho cheese, singing to himself, "I am delicious."
Centurion must feel glad that he can just spam kick.
Every centurion's glad of that.
They spam kick and then a light attack because you can't dodge it.
Thank you, those of you who have joined us for this wonderful podcast. Tune in next week. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think I'll keep doing anything.